recorded.
We're being recorded, friends. Tonight we are here. I realized that I think I've been pronouncing my podcast wrong. I think it's Phonogenics instead of Phonogenics. So I'm just calling it Homogenics because I don't know how to pronounce things. But what I do know how to pronounce is a thank you for my Patreon subscribers. A lot of people email me and they say, how can I get on your podcast? Donate to my Patreon. I'll put you on my podcast. Also, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Every day when I log on, I have more and more subscribers. So whoever's watching, thank you. Tonight, there's a trio of us. We have a small but mighty group. We're starting to get into the more divisive Madonna albums, I guess you could say.
The more hated. Let's call it as that. Like it's a huge divide between the older stands and the newer stands.
And this is definitely
this was a change.
Yep.
And everyone here is really young. So.
Yeah. So, all right, let's go around the circle. There's only three of us. If you want to introduce yourself and say your real age in your 20s.
I'm 19 in each pair. No. I'm David from Miami. What's up? Lifelong Madonna fan, and I'm actually 44. Good times.
I am Sharon from Seattle. I'm here with the goth perspective on Madonna, and I'm 45.
All right, and I'm Jeremy, your host from Tampa, Florida, and I am 46.
We got a full spread here.
Yeah,
I know.
And speaking of a full spread, let's move on.
Yes. Oh, M Dollar.
Let's move on to the album that we're discussing tonight. Madonna's Confessions on a Dance Floor, I think we all agreed last month, was one of the best albums of her career. A lot of people consider it the best album of her career. And I know
that's a little bit fighting words, but it's definitely up there.
It's her best album of that decade.
I feel like a lot of the younger generation, that's the one they gravitate towards.
Yeah, they gravitate toward, and it's a return to form.
Yeah. And I think it was influential for a lot of the dance music that came after that. So a lot of people cite it as a reference. However, on Hard Candy, we have moved on to 2008. So, at that time after Confessions, I was in full Madonna fever. Like, it was a great album, great videos, great tour. The album had a long shelf life in my life. Like I listened to it through a lot of stuff. So, I'd been along for the ride since the first album. So, from the first album.
That album gave her 2 Grammys.
Yeah.
So she was loved.
That's right.
She couldn't get airplay to save her life, but she was loved.
But the singles.
Best dance recording album, and then the video
DVD.
to the tour
video.
won a Grammy for Best Long Film.
And Hung Up was played at every club, whether it was the indie club or the gay club or the mainstream club. Like, Hung Up was just everywhere. So, I was ready. I was ready for some new Madonna. So the first thing that leaked was a demo for a song called The Beat Goes On with Pharrell. And the demo version is different than the one that came later. But the first thing we heard, and I was like, uh-oh. What? Okay. The second thing that leaked was another song called Candy Shop. And I said, uh-oh. Okay, well. Okay, we knew she was working with Timbaland, Justin Timberlake, and Pharrell. We knew that Rosie O'Donnell heard the album and said it was the best thing she's ever done. So that happened at the time.
Well, that's all I needed to know.
Yeah. She was still married to Guy Ritchie, and the Guy Ritchie said that it was his favorite music she'd ever done. So I was ready for, everyone's saying like
suicide.
I was like, let me tell you, just to know that honestly, Pharrell and Timberland were working on it, and I love them, adore them, big time.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm in, bitch, I'm in. And I've always wanted her. Like, Bedtime Stories is my favorite album because it's her with R&B undertones, and I love it. And anything that like gets her towards the R&B and hip hop, for me, I live. So I was excited, super excited.
So then the first rumor was that the album was called Give It To Me, which is interesting because there was like a demo collection, an unauthorized Madonna CD called Give It To Me from way back in the day. Then there was a rumor that the album was going to be called Licorice. Does anyone remember that? That was a short little thing. Then the 4 Minutes single leaked. So there was a leak of 4 Minutes, which was the big first single from the album. And I remember the first time I heard it, I was like, okay, this is different. And I'm like, well, you know, the album version, this must be the demo version. We'll see what happens with the album version. So then it was announced that the album was called Hard Candy, and the cover leaked, which is Madonna wearing a belt that says "Give It to Me" from the original. The original shoot had a newspaper background and a boxing ring, but they kept the pictures and put a swirly candy, and here we are. So let's talk about the album cover before we go into the music itself. How did you feel the first time you saw the image from the Hard Candy album cover?
That bitch was ready to fight.
Here's the vinyl.
I thought it was cute. I thought it was sexy. And then I was like, yeah, but she's a little skinny. But that's cute.
I mean, she looks good.
Yeah, exactly.
She looks good. She looks fierce. It's a little bit of a weird cover, but she does look good.
I just, at that time, you know, we were coming off a Ray of Light, then Music,
right.
then American Life, then Confessions, and then
here
we are, like Madonna Spread Eagle. And I just was a little bit surprised, to be honest, because she hadn't been that sexual in a long time. Yeah.
Well, it's funny too, because now where we are now, you look like, I look at it and I'm like, well, this feels very consistent. but at the time it felt a little bit like, oh, okay, we're kind of in a new flavor.
Juncture, new flavor, Turkish delight.
Exactly, as it were. But yeah, it was a little bit, you know, I guess she was kind of spreading the table for what was to come.
Now, her persona on the album was M. Dalla, which to me at the time, just speaking with truth, did feel a little forced to me. I thought it seemed like a little costumey, I guess. Because, you know, when she became Veronica Electronica, I really felt like that was an extension of her, like, soul-searching and newfound spirituality. But to me, M. Dalla honestly just felt like she went to, like, Party City and adopted this persona. Am I being a little too cynical here? I can see the review, like, the thumbs down, just going crazy here.
No, you have to always speak your truth. So you have been a lifelong fan and you deserve to speak your truth.
Okay.
You don't agree. On my case, I was like, this bitch, this is her New York side, her B-girl side that I've been dying for it to come out forever. So I was like, yes, bitch, you better be rapping here too, ho. I'm ready.
I mean, it's like, you know, we can get into this as we get through the record. There is an element to the record that feels very contrived to me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny, as I was going back and listening to it, it rubbed me the wrong way then. It still rubs me the wrong way now to some extent. Although there are a lot of great tracks on this record. Like, and actually it was nice going back and listening to it again and remembering like how many great tracks there are, because, you know, like for me, it was like, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself here, but for me, it was a little bit, I think this album was done a disservice coming straight after Confessions, because like, it's like anything following Confessions kind of was gonna, you know, unfortunately kind of, you know, suffer a little bit. And there's some actually some genuinely great singles on this record. So it's kind of like, but the thing about this record to me is whether or not she intentionally meant to do it or not. And, you know, one could argue she intentionally means to do everything she does. Like the concept of Hard Candy, it's like, it's meant to be contrived a little bit. It's meant to be is candy. It's meant to be a little bit saccharine. Like it's kind of like the fact that it's contrived was part of the concept. So it's like the fact that it felt a little bit like manufactured and pop and glossy and kind of like sugary, sticky and sweet was like part of the, so like that in theory should be part of the appeal of it. So like the fact that the cover is a little bit a little bit too much. The fact that the like the persona is a little bit too much. It's kind of like maybe that was the point, right?
You know, I honestly never thought of it that way, and I actually love that. Like, I feel like that's as authentic as an album being called music for that other album. You know, like it definitely is the hard candy. And I remember in the interview, like the press junket, she was saying it's the juxtaposition of being hard, soft and hard, or whatever.
That was her favorite word at the time.
Juxtaposition.
Yeah.
She said it so many times. I'm like, bitch, I'm gonna need you to stop. But yes, I understand.
Now, I remember that the untouched photos of the session leaked, and I actually was writing for a blog called The New Gay at the time, and I wrote a piece on it, which, looking back, might have been a little bit ageist. Like, looking back, there were definitely things I wrote when I was younger that I'm like, that wasn't very woke, I guess, for lack of a better word. But, you know,
But the thing is, we weren't woke at that time.
Yeah.
And
so
we were very vocal, regardless if it was horrible. And you know, we look back and we said, yeah, we were dicks, we were assholes. But at the moment, it was something that needed to be said by me.
But I still feel like looking at those photos that Madonna just looked very uncomfortable in that photo session. Like she just did not seem at ease. You can almost feel her discomfort in the pictures looking at them. Maybe not the one they took for the cover, but some of the other ones.
You know, I think there was a lot of pressure because A, it was her last album for Warner. B, she was just signed that new contract with Live Nation.
We know how that worked out.
C,
yeah.
She was gonna be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And D, her marriage was crumbling.
Which we didn't know at the time, but we found out by the third single.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, we found out when the album dropped because there are some songs on there that really reflect it. Obviously, the third single does.
Now,
but if you could have been seeing her haggard because at the moment the pressure was mounting on her.
Yeah,
you could feel like I was thinking that too as I was listening again. It's like you could really feel that she had a lot of pressure on her. I mean, like I also think that like the fact that she really stacked the deck on this record, like all of for the first time, all of the celebrities on the record. And like, I, you know, when I was eating dinner with my husband, I was talking to him a little bit about this record, and talking to him about these records is hilarious because he doesn't know any, like all of these Madonna records. Like he's like, have I heard this one? I'm like, you definitely have not heard it.
Nor will he ever, right?
Well, I mean, probably not. No. And he's like, would I recognize any of these songs? I'm like, definitely not. I was like, you probably did it at a Walgreens, but you know, but
oh, yes, I heard "Cherish" in a Walgreens.
Cherish.
Yes.
But you know, but like, you know, I was telling him, like, yeah, and she was working with, Justin Timberlake and blah, blah, and he said, it sounds like she was really concerned about appearing relevant.
Yeah.
And it's funny how hearing someone else kind of say the obvious and never having heard the words out loud before. I was like, oh, you know what? I've never heard anyone actually say it like that, but that's kind of, it is like, you could feel it. Like for the first time, you could kind of feel like she was scared, you know?
I don't know if she was scared, but I knew she had to play the fucking game.
Yeah, and I think she had so much pressure on her.
She knew that she's not getting played on radio. She's literally not getting played on radio when she served pop perfection with Confessions.
Yeah, I read it in an article.
It's horrible. And like she needed to sell the album. Yes, let's get Justin Timberlake. He's fucking hot right now. Let's get Timberland. Let's do this song. We'll get into it when we talk about the single.
And it worked. That's the thing.
Of course it did.
It does work.
Of course it did, because it was her first iTunes #1 song, and it sold and sold. I was like, bitch. I'm like looking at all the iTunes all over the world. I'm like, okay, one in USA, one in UK, okay, Italy, one. Like, my God, it was huge.
Yeah.
And it would have hit #1 here if it just had better airplay.
I remember reading an article that there was pressure from the record company because as much as we love Confessions and it was a hit, it wasn't a huge hit in America. And it
wasn't a hit here. And that's all they give a fuck about is here.
Right. They wanted something that would be more marketable.
Madonna could drop an album and it'll flop here, but be huge in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just...
Until Madam X, that just wasn't going anywhere.
Give it time. Give it time, y'all. But... they don't care. No one cares about the rest of the world. They just care what they can make here in the US. Yeah. So it was like, and she was not getting played on radio.
And this is totally a side path that we won't get into, but isn't it interesting how the public perception of Justin Timberlake is so much different in 2021 than it was in 2008? Like,
Well,
here we are now.
Oh yeah.
Well, we won't speak about that because like some Janet stans like to use because Madonna worked with him, but I didn't know about that shit. I didn't give a fuck. I didn't know about that stuff. That was
See, I never was enamored by Timberlake. I always felt like he was a little bit of a opportunist and appropriator. I did.
Oh, that could be definitely.
All right.
Yuck.
I will say going into this record, I had high hopes because his Future Sex Love Sounds, I adore that record. And I would not call myself like a massive like Timberlake fan, but I really, really love that record. So going into this, album. It's a great record. And I was really like, I had high hopes. So I just didn't know about his songwriting and producing stuff because I knew that if coming in, we had Timberland, and I've been a stan of Timberland, I want to say since like the Aaliyah days. Yeah.
So I have known Timberland for a good 20, 30 years now. So it's like, so I knew he was money, and he just came off Nelly Furtado's Loose album.
Oh yeah.
I knew that he was going to bring the fire.
And that album was fire. You have to admit it.
It was. Oh my God.
But I was hoping Hard Candy would be more fire instead of Half Baked Furtado, which I felt pieces of it were
fire Tato.
So as Hard Candy, the release approached, the first single came out, which we'll get to in a little bit, 4 minutes. And then, if you all remember, before the album was physically released, they had it streaming on MySpace for a couple days. So the first time I heard the full album, I streamed it on MySpace. And I just remember like kind of falling asleep as I was listening to it, and then waking up like during like the weird part of She's Not Me. I'm like, oh, this is weird. And you know, listening to the Madonna album, I always got what I called the Madonna chill, where I'd be like, whoa, only Madonna can do this to me. I get like a little verklempt with emotion. And Hard Candy was the first album that didn't happen to me. I didn't hate it, and I actually really liked parts of it, but there was just definitely a different feeling listening to this the first time through. I felt her vocals, first of all, were mixed a lot different than they were on any other album. They had her mixed really high in the mix, and they had the songs in really high keys that really made her sound shrill sometimes, which had never happened on a Madonna album. So I guess we'll get into that when we get into the songs. But my first impression was like, okay, something different's happening here. And, you know, I grew to love the album. At that time, I was traveling a lot with my music and touring with my own music. And I remember being in New York City, waiting for the subway with like Beat Goes On my Discman, I guess. Or no, I had, what was it? iPod at the time? On my iPod. So, you know, this album was a lot about movement and time and traveling, which I was doing at the time. So it did have its space in my life story, like all of Madonna's best albums did. But it was just different. So, does anyone else have any general thoughts on the album before we move into the track by track?
I just remember I was really anxious for her. Like, I really didn't want the album to flop. Which is it's funny. I've never had this sensation with a Madonna record before, but I really remember when it came out, I was just really like anxious for her. Like, please don't let it flop. Like, she deserves it not to flop. You know, I don't want it to flop after Confessions. You know, I just remember like being just really. I remember 4 minutes coming out and just being really anxious that it would be successful for her. I don't know why I was that concerned, but I really was. So
at the time, were you pleased with how it did? Did you feel like it was successful?
Yeah, no. I mean, I actually to this day I'm pleased. I mean, I have no ill will towards this record. But you know, I mean, I was just, I don't know why, I was just very worried about her. I think
I'm
I was
delusional. I'm so delusional. Somebody needs to punch me in the face because I was like, yes, bitch, yes. And you know, it was a sizable hit. It was an actual hit. It wasn't it went into the top 10 because it sold, because it wasn't getting any airplay. It finally sold and had the airplay.
Yeah.
to be a serious hit, and it went to number 3. So it was like I was so happy because it had been a minute. She hadn't had a solid hit, honestly, since Die Another Day, and that's a good 5 years.
Yeah.
Like, yes, Hung Up went to number 7, but it only went to number 7 because of the sales,
Right.
the single sales, because it had, it was so weird because the disconnect that was happening with her music being so good, and then it's on TRL and it's on being played left and right on MTV and VH1, but radio not even touching it at all.
Now for the release, this is one of the first times I hung out with my friend Oki. He's still one of my best friends to this day. And we drove to the Virgin Megastore, I believe, in Orlando.
Ooh.
They had a midnight release show, and I remember I wore a Madonna shirt, and these bitchy queens are like, who wears a shirt to a thing? And I felt so self-conscious. I'm like, I was just trying to have fun. Like, they were so mean.
Bitch, you know what? I'm sorry, because I would cut 2 holes right there, bitch. I'm like, you're here for this bitch right here.
Yeah.
And you're going to come and cut me for this shit? You shitty ass fans. You get the fuck out of my face. No, we get it. Me and Jeff, we're punching.
See, I wish you would have been with me. Before midnight, they have like the 4 minutes CD single from Europe, and I bought that and we listened to it in the car, and then we went to eat somewhere, got terrible service, and then bought Hard Candy at midnight, which I bought the CD and also the deluxe edition.
So pretty.
That let me get this out of here. It has the Hard Candy inside.
Yes.
Oh, there you go.
If you want some Werthers.
Yes.
All right. So I think Virgin Megastore closed shortly after that.
Yes, they're gone.
That's the end of an era. But it was a really memorable night, and we drove home listening to the album. It was really fun. So I miss those days of buying I still buy physical copies, but you got to go to the Target edition when they open at 10 in the morning. It's a different
exactly like I only buy Madonna albums. That's it. Hard copy. I miss those days of going to picking up an album at midnight, being at an indie record store at midnight.
And don't you feel like this was kind of the end of an era for a lot of reasons? Like, this is kind of the end of the physical copy, because by the time MDNA came out in 2012, the world was a lot different. Yeah. Things were already more digital. Lady Gaga kind of made her impact on the pop world, so there were different factors at play. So this was Madonna's last pre-Gaga album, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like the pressure really came on after this one, which we'll talk about next month. But her last album with Warner's, her last album with Guy Ritchie, and this is a terrible thing to say. When I found out Madonna, I used to have like a vlog that I did, like a video blog. And when I found out she was getting divorced, I was so happy. I'm like, yay, Madonna's gonna be fun again and partying in New York City. And now I'm like, man, I really wish it would have worked out for her, because I really think she wanted to have that love in the fairy tale ending. I think that's her heart has always kind of wanted that. So in retrospect, I was a bitchy, shitty fan.
It wasn't meant to be.
Yeah.
And she's just enjoying her life as it is right now.
Yeah. Well, all right. Hard Candy.
Yes.
The first track is a track that had leaked, and I was like, oh, this must be the demo. And it turns out that the leak is about exactly the same as the album version. A track called Candy Shop, which Madonna must love because she shoves it down her throat every fucking tour, almost.
And I live for it. I love every incarnation of that song. It is now my holiday on a tour. If I don't hear Holiday and I don't hear Candy Shop, I'm worried for Madonna.
Now, this is going to be something that gets me a lot of thumbs down. But remember the Cher voice from the early Madonna albums?
Uh-huh.
We have a new voice this time around, which we called, this is ageist, but we're just going to put it out there. I called it the grandma voice. Because she's like, get up out of your seat. Come on up to the dance floor. I got something so sweet.
You're a mess. Oh my God. You're going to be turned into a meme. I just know it.
And that all started with my friend Nicole when we were driving back from that said Orlando trip. She's like, why is Madonna's voice so high and shaky? Get up out of your seat. So Candy Shop. That's all I have to say. I'm going to let you guys redeem this podcast. And tell me. On top of this, I want to say I do love this song. I think just like Candy, it's a guilty pleasure. It's fun. I think it has a hot groove. I love to make fun of it a little bit, but I still love it. So I'm allowed to kind of poke fun at it and still love it, right? A little bit.
Of course you can.
Okay.
It's
so
only fair.
What do you all think of Candy Shop?
Well, so I was actually going to say more or less what I said earlier, which is like I think it's the perfect song to open the record. I think it sets the tone, and it's a little bit what I said earlier, which is that I think the point of the record is that it's a little bit slick and glossy and contrived, but in a guilty pleasure kind of way, like Candy. You know, it's meant to be a little bit, you know, maybe like it's not meant to be sophisticated. Like I feel like in some ways Confessions was supposed to be a little bit deeper and sophisticated. This is meant to be like a guilty pleasure, meant to be fun. It's meant to be like don't think about it too much. Don't like it's supposed to be simple and, you know, and enjoyable, right? Like I will be honest, this is not my favorite Madonna record, but like the song, it's like, you know, it's like if it's on, I'm gonna dance, right? It's like, you know, it's like one of those songs. It's not like, I'll be honest, it's not a song that like I have never woken up at night and then, man, I gotta hear Candy Shop right at the second. But like if I'm out somewhere and it's on, like, yeah, I'm gonna get like definitely if I'm at a wedding and I've had 3 drinks, like yeah, of course, like that's a moment right there, right? But you know, it's one of those.
I also feel this album has aged well because when I've revisited it more recently, I'm feeling it. It
you know, going back to it, I feel like, as I said, it was done a little disservice coming after Confessions. It is a fun, light, frothy, not too complicated, not too serious record. And it really needs to be appreciated with that context.
Right.
If you don't go into it with that context, you might be disappointed, but you need to go into it and understand its purpose.
I remember a review in a magazine said, you know, Madonna's last album was called Confessions on a Dance Floor, but this is the real Confessions on a Dance Floor because, you know, the songs are really fun and she's kind of confessing on the dance floor. And this is what Confessions on the Dance Floor should have been.
And I actually disagree because Confessions actually was the perfect word for it because there is a whole range of emotions on Confessions. It is a confession. It is like every emotion you can imagine in that record. This isn't about confessions. This is about, I'm going to go out and have a good time. I'm going to eat too much sugar and I'm going to have a few drinks and I'm going to do stupid shit and it's going to be a good night. That is what this record is. You're
going to get your booty up down like,
I'm gonna have some Turkish delight. I'm gonna learn a little Spanish. Apparently, it's gonna be really embarrassing, but whatever.
Please,
David, what are your thoughts on Candy Shop?
I love Candy Shop. Candy Shop was my ringtone for the longest.
I know your Candy Shop's open 24 hours, honey.
Always. And on the flip phone. No, it's I love every incarnation she has shoved down her throat, as you say. Especially the MDNA tour version with the medley with Erotica, because I thought they worked.
That was great.
Yeah, I was at that tour, by the way.
Yes.
So now I can actually talk about tours.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, it was a great opener and it was cute. It was tongue in cheek for me, and I was like, it's fine. I liked it.
Did you like her on the throne at the beginning of Sticky and Sweet when she came out with a?
Well, where else was she gonna be? Yeah. It's the queen. Bitch, don't talk to me about the Super Bowl when she came in on the throne as well. I was like, what do you expect from her?
And this is definitely when she started referring to herself as the queen more. Too.
As she should. And they were already calling her the queen.
I always appreciate a little
self-proclaimed king of pop. I mean, queen of pop.
I don't mind a little false modesty, but you know, whatever.
What false modesty? No, that bitch had the receipts. Come on. Like she's the queen, and we get in, people get into this recently, who the queen of pop is and who that. That's fine. That's fine if you think somebody else is, because that's who you believe in. I say it's my bitch, and I have the receipts.
I do think Madonna's the queen. I'd say Madonna's the queen of pop for sure.
Yeah,
certainly if you're going to go on raw data. I mean, I think
that's fine. And I don't want to rag on anybody. I just say my bitch is the queen because I have the fucking receipts. She's the biggest selling female artist of all time. Of all time. Oh, she's the queen of pop. She's the queen of dance pop. She's the biggest dance artist of all time. Those are her titles, and nobody touches that.
Yeah.
Y'all invent other names for those other bitches. I'm just saying this is hers.
All right. Well, do we have any other thoughts on Candy Shop before we move on to something whose sugar is not quite as raw?
No.
All right. So the first time I heard 4 minutes, I was like, this is a lot of noise. This is a lot of noise. I did work with a girl named Jessica at Busch Gardens at the time, and every time it was 4:44 at work, we would stop and do our 4 minutes tick tock dance in the server alley of the restaurant. So that's nice. A cute little Madonna tradition. This song, they did play it a lot at the clubs. I remember hearing it at the gay clubs and the straight clubs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Some people said they felt like it was Justin Timberlake featuring Madonna a little bit.
Could be.
I'm a little concerned about the voice because she's like, "Come on, boy, get me down and sing."
Y'all are such good stands, because for me, I was like, oh, this bitch is experimenting with her voice. You better work, bitch. Like, come on. Like, I'm like, yo, like, she's done records. She sang on records already. If she wants to do the auto-tune, let her do the auto-tune. You don't have to buy it. You don't have to like it.
Now, I just want to say,
a dead horse. Like, to me, I was like, okay, she's bored. She wants to fuck around with her voice because she wants to see how things sound. Sometimes it's a hit, and most of the time it's a miss. But it's her. She's
well, I stand by what I said. I think her voice was fine. I think they recorded it different because even on Rebel Heart and MDNA, her voice sounded great. Like, she's singing great. I just think they put her really close to the microphone without a lot of reverb, which has caused the texture of the vocals. So, if people are watching this and I'm kind of like poking fun at the album, I love it.
No, I kind of love, because you're an artist. So I love that you're saying these things, because I don't think of stuff like that, but you do.
Right.
So, like, to me, I'm like, oh, she's fucking around with her voice. Good times. And you're like, no, because maybe they didn't have the proper mic here and she wasn't doing. See, I don't know the industry like you know.
I just don't think maybe Timberlake and Pharrell were necessarily vocal producers in the way that Madonna needs for her voice. Because look at the effects that Stuart Price put on her voice for Confessions. It's flawless. And her voice
is so good.
Yeah. And like I said, these songs are in really high key. So they're really stretching the top of her range. And, it's nothing about her. I just think it's where they placed her in the mix. So that's my opinion. I could be right or wrong. Did you guys notice a vocal change on this album?
Her voice does sound different. And maybe that was a stylistic decision, but it does like it doesn't sound like a Madonna single.
Right.
Like if you wouldn't necessarily, for some of you heard it, like place it as a Madonna single, which is maybe why people were saying it's a Justin Timberlake single. But yeah, like I wouldn't have necessarily like placed it.
Now I will say I do love this song. Like, I think 4 minutes, it's a hit. I love the video. I thought Madonna looked hot in the video. I thought her dancing on the cars was fierce.
Yeah, it's a good video for sure.
Yeah.
It's not my favorite. I will be honest, it's not my favorite single she ever did. Like, it's funny, but I said it earlier, like I'm genuinely happy it was a hit. It's funny, like I can clock how successful her singles are based on whether or not like the songs still get played on Peloton classes. Okay. And this one gets played all the time in Peloton classes. So like at least that should tell you, like, middle America, 40-year-old women, 4 minutes is still going strong. But
See, I used to know something was a hit if it got played at the bowling alley. So if I was out bowling and something came on, I was like, okay, this has reached this demographic.
yeah, so I think 4 minutes. So I think 4 minutes kind of hit ubiquity with kind of like the like average middle America kind of, you know, woman, but it just never like it was just never like a song that really, like, of all of the Madonna singles, this is just not one that I would ever like this would not be the first Madonna single I would pull off the shelf, you know.
And what an interesting lead single from a project. Like, you know, those lead singles, like we have Frozen, we have Music, American Life.
But American Life is like really memorable.
I loved American Life. Loved
I did too.
it.
Love.
Wasn't a hit.
Then, like, love it or hate it, like it's very, very memorable.
It's very Madonna.
It's very Madonna. Like 4 minutes is very memorable, but it's not very Madonna. That's the thing, you know?
I just put in that group of like noisy songs. Like me and my friend Oki, like we do our countdowns when we're driving. We're like, what are some noisy songs? Like Rule the World by Beyonce, noisy. Loverboy by Mariah, noise. Like just a lot of noise. And I feel like 4 minutes just had a lot of noise in it. All those, the horns and the drums. And it was just a really busy music track.
Yeah.
And then Justin Timberlake was, you know, there doing his thing.
Yes, he was taking up too much space. I hate the song.
Oh! After all that, I was trying to.
I'm very
and good night, everybody. We're done.
Yep.
I'm very happy it did well, but I'm not a fan. I don't know. It just like blah. Video is great. I think production is great. Everything is great in that song, but
hair is great in the video.
Oh yeah, it does.
Yeah.
But I just hate it. It's just disgusting. Like, to me, there are other songs that deserved the praise that this busted song got. I'm very happy. I'm very happy that the song did well for her, so that she could be back, or mini back as it seemed. But there were better songs out there that we're going to discuss.
Well,
yeah, there's better songs on the record. I totally agree with that.
You know, jumping ahead, and we'll talk about it later, but I think Dance Tonight's actually a better song with Timberlake that could have
Facts.
been a lead single over this.
No, I already know what would have been the lead single when we get to it.
Okay.
I'm curious.
I know.
I'll wait in suspense.
Yes, but it's coming.
All right. Well, do we have any other thoughts on 4 minutes? Tick tock, tick tock. And I also felt like that ripped off the Gwen Stefani, because she was doing that in her "What You Waiting For," right? The tick tock, tick tock.
She was only doing that in the remix version.
Oh, okay. That's the one they play at the club.
But yeah, whatever. Everybody's been doing TikTok for a minute. It's just that Gwen was most recent by the time that it had come out.
So the next single, "Give It to Me," the precursor to the video is they had a little clip of Madonna vacuuming on MySpace where she had all these necklaces on.
MySpace again.
Yep. She had all these necklaces on. She was talking about filming the video. And then when it came out, it was basically just one of those videos where she took a photo shoot and just made a video out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's doing a photo shoot for a magazine. So I was a little disappointed in the video. Pharrell comes in with a bag, like pulling a purse in the middle of the video. There was a lot of buzz about this song before I heard it. And I know a lot of people love this song, but the thing I don't like about the song is the snare drum sound. Like it's a really weird snare drum, and it makes me not love the song. And I know that's such a weird thing to say, but I don't know. What do you guys think of "Give It to Me"? Jeffrey Dicker loves it, right?
This should have been the first single.
Okay.
This song right here, because you know why? This is so Madonna.
It is.
It is
100%.
so Madonna. It makes me so mad because obviously it got a little bit of play because of the success of that busted single. But this song is Madonna to a T and deserved all the accolades that other song got.
Do you think this would have been a hit?
This should have been a hit. This should have been bigger than, like, this is the song on the album. One of the multiple great songs on this album. Like this is so Madonna. It was like, give it, and bitch, it sounded so good in a club. So good in a club.
Yeah,
the
when
little
she
arpeggiated part that
Yes, I was like, yes. I was like, no, this song is it's a Madonna classic.
I will say
Just-
something. When I need a little motivation in life and a pick me up, I do put this song on. What are
You
you
have to
waiting?
like this album for me is a workout album. Like
Yeah.
I'll go work out. I'll do cardio to this album because it is so good for that.
I think her voice sounds great in this song. I am a
Yeah.
little worried about that middle part, the get stupid. It's so weird.
What are you talking about? That's such a great part. I'm like, yes. Oh,
Sharon, what
that
did you
song
think of
is so good.
Give It to Me?
I actually love this single. I genuinely love this single. Like I'm like it's like I said, you know, if you think about if you approach the record from being kind of like frothy, glossy, kind of like artificial, contrived, like, you know, don't overthink it, have a good time. This single like completely delivers on all of it in the best way possible.
I agree. I can get past my snare drum thing is just like a minor quip. I think it's a great song. I think her vocals sound great, and it's classic Madonna.
Yeah, it's definitely like it feels very like iconically like a Madonna single.
And closing the tour with the song was badass.
Yes. Oh yes.
I think a lot of the songs on this album we're not gonna have the longest discussions because, you know, they're just kind of about dancing and running against the time.
There'll be one song that'll have a long discussion, but
well, it's interesting because wasn't this the album where she was about to turn 50? She turned 50, right?
she turned 50.
There's a lot of references in the lyrics about, you know, time and the clock and racing against time. So it's interesting that, you know, I think she was making a statement, and I was there for it. So the next song, first of all, I'm going to say the grandma voice is back in the bridge where she says, the only one that the light shines on. And the first time I heard that, I said, how could they let that go into the final mix? That is so bad. Number 2, it sounds like a leftover from Nelly Furtado's album.
Could be.
And third of all, I think it was because there's a version out there with someone else singing that Timbaland had someone else sing it, and Madonna just changed a couple of the lyrics. Now that I've totally dogged this track, I actually do kind of love it. Like, we're talking about heartbeat here.
Yeah, of course.
See my beauty get down like, See my...
I'm telling you, I am doing my squats, y'all. I am doing them.
You're like, I'm getting that heartbeat up.
Yes, honey.
Which is why she did call her gym's Hard Candy Fitness. We all do. Must.
Yes.
You know, it wasn't confession time
in Mexico.
Yeah.
They're all
Russia
closed
and
now.
Mexico were really strong. They were in the green, my friends.
Don't you want to be at a gym seeing a big picture of Madonna on the wall when you're working out?
Did you see those guns that bitch was showing off on at this time? Come on. Yeah.
Now, all the Hard Candy Fitnesses are closed now, correct?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, they are.
But, you know, it wasn't called American Life Fitness. It was Hard Candy Fitness.
Yes.
This was the era of Nicole Winhofer, I believe, was the...
Right.
That's right. Sharon has, I think, memorized, apparently, her personal trainers. I don't know why I have her personal trainers memorized. Obviously, I have psychological problems, but I think Nicole Winhofer was the one that slept with her boyfriend.
Yeah.
Why do I know that?
No, it's true. And they came out with a 4 DVD set called Addicted to Sweat.
Yeah, and then I think, and
Which
then
I bought.
they had a parting of ways. Did you really?
Yeah, I got them. I think I played them like
are you
once.
still addicted?
Addicted to candy bars, which is why I need to get back to those DVDs.
Yeah.
So who was her trainer after Nicole? Do you know who was next?
His name is Craig. His name was, I think it was, oh God, not Craig David. That's like a musician.
Yes, he is.
That's a DJ, but his name is Craig something. And then the current one is, oh my God, I'm like, well.
I put you on the spot. I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
The nerve.
Craig something. And then the current one, I think he's still technically still her trainer, but then there's like there's her dancer she's been working with, who I think she was even quarantined with. That's been like the one that she's been working with. Like it's in her Instagrams. But anyway.
So how do you all feel about Heartbeat?
It's okay. It's got its moments. It's just okay, but it's not bad.
It's like, okay. Yeah, I would agree with that. It's like, it's another one of those songs where it's like, if it's on, like, I'm there for it, but I don't know that, like, it's not something I would like actively seek out.
I love the production. It pumps me. Like, I can understand where probably the lyrical thing is what creates it just to be, bland and normal. But I just love the beat to that song.
Well, that's about all I got for Heartbeat.
Exactly. Flatline.
On any given night, catch me on the floor. Yeah, when these come on, like, I totally queen out. I gotta be honest. Like,
who doesn't? Look at me doing a shimmy right now.
On any given night.
Exactly.
And then the live version where she's like, see my booty get down like, oh, she's like screaming. I remember watching it with my friend. He's like, oh, what's she doing here? This is one of those albums, like, we can kind of gently poke fun at it, but we love it. We love it.
Of course.
So turn that thumbs down to a thumbs up on YouTube, y'all.
Please.
All right. The next song is when I wondered how things were going in the Ritchie household.
Mm-hmm.
Miles Away was, the acoustic guitar was back from American Life, but with the Timbaland production. The first time I heard the song, I thought it was great. I thought this really sounds and feels like classic Madonna to me.
Mm-hmm.
She's obviously invested. There's some beautiful lyrics in this.
Of course there is.
And I think it's such a shame that they wasted with that crappy live version video that they released.
It should have never been released as a single.
And then here's the terrible artwork for the cover.
Yeah, I was gonna say, this is the worst artwork. This is like in the pantheon of worst Madonna single artworks ever.
Right up there with the Love Crow fusion.
Bitch on Madonna.
Bitch on Madonna. We'll get there, right?
I mean, the song is so great. It's like, why did they do this? It's actually like a genuinely great track. Why did they do this?
You know what? They, first of all, it should have never been released as a single. If we're thinking that after, Give It To Me flopped.
Right.
I needed a hit. And this was not it.
No.
Not saying that I don't take away the greatness of this song, because it really is, because you need to read those lyrics and you're listening to it, you're like, and then you're
Madonna always had those album cuts that really touched my heart that weren't the singles, like Skin. It didn't, Impressive Instant was a great song. Maybe it wasn't,
should have been released.
See, I don't know if it would have been a hit, but who knows?
Oh no, I swear to you, it would have been a hit.
It might have been.
Because she was still getting played.
We're going back to that argument.
Yeah.
And
we're back.
It would have been a hit. It would have been a hit. I don't care. It would have been such a hit. And it makes me mad because it's once again Warner screwing things up, just like they screwed things up here.
Now, I know Justin.
Why would we think they'd be perfect on their last album?
Justin's singing the harmonies, but to me, Justin Timberlake doesn't bother me on the song. I think they have a really nice blend on the chorus. To me,
I don't recognize them, so that's a good thing. That's a good thing, because you don't want to overshadow the person you're singing harmonies and backups with, because you should only hear them. So he did a good job, and he's been in a boy band, so I think he knows how to do that.
As we found out a few months after the release of the album, these lyrics were very genuine. Like they really were timely, and I think Madonna, when she wants to, really does write from the heart.
Yeah.
So yeah, I put this up there with her. It might not be like a prayer level, but I think it's among her A-level Madonna songs for sure.
Her introspective, her personal songs.
Yeah,
it's up there. It really is. And like, honestly, this could be a ballad if it just didn't have the beat on it.
Yeah.
Because it's
I
truly
like it
a
with the
ballad.
beat.
I like the
but
beat too.
It's a great song. It's like a genuinely great song on this record.
Definitely a little bit of a
Yes.
change of pace from, you know, where we were before this.
Yeah.
All right.
I think it was a nice. I mean, it's like, to me, this is a high point on the record.
Yeah. I definitely feel like we're kind of like going
Yeah.
uphill.
Yep.
Eh.
Well, the next one is a delightful diversion.
No, it is.
I will say,
It is.
like the next one is like a genuinely delightful kind of like frothy, like let's just have a little fun and kind of laugh a little bit.
Now, I will say I had a crush on this guy, Alex, from San Francisco, and I was so jealous. I think I told the story last time. I was so jealous that he picked another guy over me. I just sent him a clip of Madonna saying, I know I can do it better. I'm like, bitch, I know I can fucking do it better, bitch. And I still feel like I probably can in that fucking boyfriend he had. But the next song is She's Not Me, featuring Wendy
great song.
Melvoin on guitar from Prince and the Revolution.
Wendy.
I was in a chat with Wendy and Lisa, and I'm not going to quote what Wendy said, but I don't think she thought this was Madonna's best album.
Yes, but we knew that already.
We all knew that already.
I don't think that's like
That came out. We
Yeah.
know that came out, so it's fine. But that's a very good record. She needs to stop with the record she did with Pharrell for this song is great. This is another great album, great song, and right after Miles Away.
Yeah, I think it's fun.
Get it. You need to read those lyrics.
Oh yeah, like when you heard the lyrics of this, you're kind of like,
you're like, it's a cute, it's a great song, and then you're like, wait 1 second, who is she talking to? Who is this bitch talking? Who the fuck is messing with God?
Yeah.
As simple as that. You're like, it's a great song. It is really a great song.
I think it's
really
funky as hell. It always gave me a little bit of a Blondie vibe, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's very, there's a funk bass there.
I can hear Debbie Harry taking this on.
Oh,
it's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous as a song, but it's also like, it's like so like one of the things that I like about it is like nobody would get away, like so few people would get away with singing this and actually pull it off.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like so ridiculous, and she pulls it off, which is like really part of its appeal. But it is such a ridiculous song. But let me just say two things that I love. Well, two connected things that I love about this song. One is the YouTube video of the fan that did all the clips of Lady Gaga like ripping off Madonna to this song. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Okay. And then during the MDMA tour, where like during the whole sequence, which is like, by the way, the only Madonna tour I have ever seen, I'm like getting ahead of myself, is the MDMA tour. And like the part of the tour that completely blew my mind was the Give Me All Your Lovin', Express Yourself with the marching band guys on the like coming from the ceiling. You know what I'm talking about?
Right. And
in that sequence, when she does Express Yourself, and then she started singing Born This Way, and then in the middle of that, she starts singing She's Not Me.
Not me.
Which she's like completely referencing that video that the fan made, like with all the like Lady Gaga ripping her off like to that song, and I was just like, okay, that is fucking hilarious.
So bitchy, right?
Yeah.
So
and
bitchy.
well desered. I will.
So I was like, I love Lady Gaga, but I was like, okay, that's really funny.
You know, I thought Madonna kind of made the point by actually singing Born This Way, but then it's like she kept it going by adding in She's Not Me. But you know what? I was there for it. I'm like,
who wasn't there for it?
Yeah,
Only the busted monsters. They weren't there for it. But I was like, you know, it makes me so mad because when I was their age and growing up, how many legends didn't come and try to shit on Madonna's name? So many legends.
Katrina and the Waves did.
Bitch, that whole like, oh my God, every like your Stevie Nicks likes to shit on my bitch. Like who? And the thing is, for me, I grew up and it's like, oh, fuck these legends. But you have to respect them because they're legends and they're allowed to say their opinion,
right?
Regardless if it's wrong or right. And it was super wrong most of the time. But nowadays these children have no respect. Like that whole debacle thing, she was asked a question, she said what she said. People wanted to bring, and see, the thing is, had they left it alone, we would have never gotten that express yourself born this way or she's not me. But y'all started wanting to bother her and she's like, okay, you buck, I'll buck too. And then she did that and made them all mad.
We definitely will be talking about that next month, won't we?
Yes, oh, most definitely.
Yes, we will. Do you know what's interesting about this song? And as we move into this part of the album, they really stretched it out past the normal length of a pop song. Because this song kind of goes into a more experimental, kind of weird sequence at the end. Like I said, I dozed off listening to this album, not because it was boring, but I was just tired. And when I woke up, it was like, when it was going to the end, I was like...
And I love that part.
I love it too. I think it's great.
So good.
I like this song from beginning to end. I like the whistles. I like the 80s throwback. I think Pharrell's singing took me a minute to get used to because I wasn't really a Neptunes fan. So I don't know if I'd ever really heard him sing that much. And, you know, it's not the way to do you feel it. When I first heard him, I was like, this is different, but I love it. I think it's really interesting.
I like Pharrell. So
yeah, I like him too.
I was used to it. So I had been a fan of him for over a decade. So I was good.
And I feel like the Pharrell tracks generally are a little bit more experimental than the Timbaland ones on this album.
I think she made magic with Pharrell. Like she and Pharrell, they really made great tracks on this.
But didn't they fight in the studio? Didn't she leave the studio crying because of Pharrell? From what I read in the interviews.
She probably loved it because nobody puts her in her place. She's working with a lot of yes men nowadays. So it's like.
And interestingly enough, I think for the first time since Like a Virgin, Madonna wasn't in the producer credits for the Timbaland tracks. If I remember right, it was just Timbaland, produced by Timbaland, and not Timbaland and Madonna. And I think that was one of his prerequisites to work with her on this album. I do think she shared the producing credits on the Pharrell tracks, and I could be wrong, but I'm too lazy to look it up, so I'm sure someone will correct me in the comments. But that's what my memory is telling me.
And well, then I guess that says it all, doesn't it?
Any other thoughts on She's Not Me?
Oh, good song. Good song.
As much as I love the song, though, we do have to say the voice is back a little bit. She's not me.
Yeah, yeah. She does. You're right. You're talking about the shrillness.
The shrill, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, she needed a little Nicki and Donna, just a layer underneath to kind of, you know, give her a little support. Sometimes you need that background vocal support.
I'm like, who?
Oh! How dare you? Obviously, you didn't hear
How dare I?
Their Rain, their remake of Rain. All right. Next, a song that goes on and on.
Yeah.
And on and on.
And on.
Incredible. This is another song that makes you wonder what's going on in the marriage. I like this song, but I do wish it was a little bit shorter, and I don't like the last section where they're like, ooh, incredible, finish what we started.
The way this song is so polarizing. So polarizing.
I'll take the first,
it's
the first half.
Trash. Such trash, and then some people just live for it.
So where do you all fall?
Online debates. I like it. I really do. I like it. I had, you know, and I like it even more because people hate it. So I'm like, I can't help it. I just want to be like so anti the other people, and it's like, but I like it. I really, really like this song. I like the experimentation. I love those quirky sounds and stuff like that. To me, it was great. It's a workout album. Like it pumps me up, and these are one of the songs that do it for me.
See, I just felt like the lyrics were really good for the verses and the choruses in the first section of the song, but then it just goes into these mindless. But let's get the party started. Like this isn't a get the party started song, so I just didn't understand where that came from. I just feel like it got stupid at the end when it was really good in the beginning. So I'm polarized myself because I love parts of it and other parts I'm like, what is this shit?
Exactly.
Well, if we're on track 7 and we haven't gotten the party started yet, I mean, I have questions.
Sharon, what do you think of this song?
This is not a song that I am never reaching for this song. No, it's just not. It's never top of mind for me. You know, just never the Madonna song was top of mind for me.
She had some interesting bridges on this album too, like the I remember when you, like with that heavy guitar in there, like it's just definitely. then she goes up an octave. You get my love. Da-da. I'm like, oh girl, what's happening here?
She's working out at the Hard Candy gym. That's what's happening.
This is Tybo right here.
She's getting her cardio in, man.
And then Pharrell's like groaning and grunting. Hoo, hoo. I'm like, this was really good, and then it got really bad.
That's what happens when you got to open a gym.
So the first half of the song's like before the workout, and the second half's like, hoo. I'm on the treadmill.
The
second part's the strength training. So you drop the weights and you go, whoo. Inhale, pick up the.
Even that part wouldn't be so bad, but it repeats multiple times. This song's like
you
a good
do 8 to 10 reps.
Yeah. This album really was built for the Hard Candy fitness, wasn't it?
Yes, I'm telling you, this is a workout album. It pumps you up.
All
right, well, I have nothing else to say about Incredible. Anything else?
As you should.
It's incredible. What more is there to say?
Let's get the party started.
That's right.
And could she sound any less invested when she's saying that? Like, she sounds like she is not ready to get the party started. It sounds like she's like, how much longer do I have to be in the studio? Like, you know, when she's saying holiday, it's like, you know, if we took holiday, but she's like, let's get the party started.
How dare you? But yes.
You know, all right, so moving on, a song that we heard in demo form, in much different form than it ended up on the album.
Correct.
The Beat Goes On, featuring Kanye West.
I've never been so mad at Warner for not releasing this fucking hit. This is a hit on top of a hit. This should have been released after Give It To Me. I'm sorry. Kanye was so hot at that moment. And his verse was fire. Everything about that song is straight fire. Everything that I love about Pharrell is in that song. This is the hit that got away.
See, you know what? Now I keep doing the technical thing, but I love this song, but the one thing that turned me off was that weird keyboard patch they use, like that. Like, it's just an odd, not very appealing sound, I feel like. You know, the best pop songs give you that warm fuzzy, and that just kind of gave me a little bit of a.
But it's not a pop song. That's what it is. It's not. You can't be looking at it as a pop song.
You consider it a house song? R&B?
It is an R&B song.
Okay.
And it is a great R&B record. I am so sorry. You're looking at it the wrong way. This is a bop. This would have been a huge hit. This would have secured more promo for the next album.
I definitely remember waiting for the subway.
Issue, so that's life. But
I remember waiting for the subway and on the beat goes, and I was like, hell yeah, my life is right where this song's at right now in this moment in time.
It's so good. It's like, it's criminally underrated. It would have been a huge hit, and Warner fucked it up.
Now, has anyone else here heard the demo version? Or she's talking about always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
No. Oh no. Okay.
We just listened to the demo version of The Beat Goes On, which is the first thing that leaked from Hard Candy, and this is your first reaction. What did you all think?
That was a trip.
I was a little concerned when I heard that. You know, I was like, okay, David.
The beat is there, so I live for the beat. I don't know, because the thing is, like, it's hard to not have heard that before the final version. So it's just like, does it sound weird? I don't know, but like she wrote the beat. Those lyrics were writing the beat like nobody's business. But I like the finished product. This was okay.
Yeah, but I think ultimately the track that got released I agree that like I wonder what would have happened, right? Because it's a very catchy and memorable track, you know.
And it's 2008. It is the
Yeah.
perfect song for that year, and that's
Yeah.
what makes me so livid.
Now I will say, going back and listening to that demo, I like it better than I remember liking it. When she started going, I'm like, okay, girl, all right. The beginning part where she's like, let's do something different. Like, we don't need that at the beginning. I'm glad they cut that out of the final version.
You're like, oh, honey, we've done different things
Yeah,
before.
we've done different things.
It's like,
Yeah, we're past that point.
yeah.
Now, what did y'all think of Kanye's rap? I thought some of it was a little bit bitchy.
And I loved it.
Well, it's Kanye. Why wouldn't isn't Bitchy his middle name? Isn't it Kanye Bitchy West?
Yeah, right. Basically.
It was great. It was such a solid verse.
Yeah, I thought he did a great job.
I'm trying to.
I wish Jeffrey was here because he'd probably cut it to shreds.
Oh, now, just so the listeners know, didn't Jeffrey Dicker say that this was a CD single for Give It To Me and She's Not Me with 11 bonus tracks?
Yes, that's what she said. I was like, and I was like, yes, you better stand, give it to me. Yes. Give it to me is that bitch.
that is like a classic Jeffrey Dicker line.
Yes. We miss you, Jeffrey. And yeah,
this is why I grew up with him. This is why I spent so much time with him growing up.
We need him back for MDNA. I want to hear what he has to say.
Oh God.
Yep.
Or maybe I don't.
No.
Yeah, so you, David, do you think this would have been a hit? Sharon, do you think this would have been a hit if it was a single in 2008?
I genuinely don't know. Like I can't make predictions, but I do think it would have been I think it would have been interesting to see.
It was an interesting. Go ahead.
I was going to say I do think it would have been interesting. I do agree with you. Kanye was definitely, you know, he was big. He certainly was a rising star at that point. Like I think the sound was there. Like yeah, you know, it would have been interesting to see.
Now, I want to just say for context that 2008 was a year, kind of the last year that our divas really served. Because we had Donna Summer's last album, Crayons, which was such a great comeback. I loved that album. Stamp Your Feet was played at the clubs a lot. Cyndi Lauper had Bring You to the Brink out at the time, which had a couple like really great club singles on it. We had Madonna with Heart Candy. We had Mariah with Equals MC Squared. So there was a lot of good divas out that year.
And don't forget, we had
Janet Discipline.
With Discipline. Because
Feedback.
Oh, child. Oh, Discipline was a very good album. But, you know, she was being blacklisted at that time. So
see, I thought Discipline wasn't my favorite, but I thought Feedback was a great single.
Feedback is a classic Janet song and a hit. Like,
yeah.
Oh my God. And then just to see, you know, the queens get their lives on the dance floor to Feedback, child. Like I knew all these queens who just knew every dance step to that video. Oh, it was a good time for the legends.
It was a good time.
And just because we're on the topic of Timberlake, you know, like Janet just got so fucking just criminally destroyed by what happened.
Yeah.
You know?
There was just an episode on a documentary about it. Did you all watch it?
Multiple documents. I haven't seen it yet. I need to because just what people have told me about what Timberlake did after the whole thing was
justice for Janet.
Exactly. And for La Britney.
Now, can we say, though, do we need the line from Feedback where Janet said she was heavy like a first day period? I don't know if I needed that line from a song.
Bitch, I felt it.
You know what, honey? If let me tell you something. As a woman who's had a few first day periods, like if we can bring that reality to you and you're like, you know what? I know what it feels like to have a first day period. God bless all of you. God bless Janet.
Okay. I recant. I'm sold.
I was
sold.
like, come on, bitch. Come on. You are gay. How many girlfriends haven't told you about the first day period? Shit. Please, bitch. Come
Now,
on.
this is off topic, but I have to mention this because I don't know if we'll ever talk about this again. But there was a Janet song that I just slept on for years, and then I rediscovered it, and I couldn't stop playing it for days. That song "Make Me" from Number Ones, the new song she recorded. That's a that's a bop right there. Holy shit!
It's good. It's real good.
So, all right,
she's the legend.
Enough about Janet. That's another conversation for another day.
Yeah.
We love her though. I hope she releases her Black Diamond album next year. I'm so ready for it.
It's so coming.
And I think
she's getting ready. She's been releasing pictures of her getting ready and doing with her choreographer. So I'm excited.
I propose that we do a podcast on Black Diamond when it's released. That we talk about it when it's fresh.
I will be there.
Absolutely.
To discuss.
Yep.
Most definitely.
Perfect. All right. So moving on with Hard Candy, we are in the Madonna Witherlands. What's the word?
Derailment.
Yeah. Okay. So the next song is Dance Tonight, another song with Justin. I always thought this
song.
I thought this was a good bop. I thought it was a good jam.
This is a delightful, frothy, like
it could be right up there with Spotlight, Holiday.
What 4-minute needed to be, in my opinion. Do
you think this could have been a single?
This, I don't know. I'm not about the better single because I already knew that that's where they were heading. But this is a great song. It just flows so nicely.
I think this could have been a single.
And not only that, but their magic together on that track. They work very well. And
then in the very last measures where it kind of goes into the more like Usher sounding synthesizer, like the do 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 do. I just think it's great because it starts with that kind of 80s funk bass, and then there were some really interesting musical textures on this album. I do have to say. I just wish they would record her voice a little bit better. Yeah, I put Dance Tonight there, like I said, with Spotlight, the Madonna dance songs. She would do that again a couple years later with Celebration. I thought that was a great get on the dance floor.
Absolutely. I think that's a great, that this song fits in that whole pantheon. Totally.
Right. And it's a shame it was kind of buried in this back half of the album here, because I think it deserved a little bit better. For
sure. Like it's varied. It's one of those things that like people wouldn't necessarily know it's there if you don't point it out to them.
Yeah, let's get Heartbeat out of the first half of the album and put Dance Tonight up there.
I'm fine. I can see that.
Yeah. We like our little Heartbeat. When we get our booty right down, it's a little bit harder to get back up these days, but
yes. So true.
All right, any thoughts on Dance Tonight?
Great.
No, it's just fun, frothy, enjoyable.
Just talking about saving the world again, right? That's fine. Like, I'm there for it. All right. Speaking of Madonna's voice, and frothiness, we have a song. First there was La Isla Bonita.
No. Then there was a great song. Don't bring La Isla Bonita into this conversation.
Then there was Who's That Girl?
Mm-hmm.
Pray for Spanish Eyes.
Yes.
You'll see the Spanish version.
Verás.
What it feels like for a girl.
Lo como se siente una mujer. Yes.
And adding to that repertoire of Madonna songs in Spanish, we have a track.
The ultimate.
We have a track called Spanish Lesson.
The worst. Trash. I know people who love it, but I'm just like, I'm such, pardon my French, a spick. So when I see just this horrendousness in Spanish, it just makes I was like, girl, it was like, I can understand if you're being cute, but it was just stupid.
No,
it's just ridiculous and not in a good way. It was just,
I feel the music is jarring. I think as I call it, the grandma voice is definitely back. Can you hear me call your name? No. What about the middle section? If you do your homework, baby, I can give you more.
The thing is, I couldn't reach the middle section because I was so turned the fuck off.
You can't get that far.
It's like it you know, and I know a lot of
we
people
go through the whole
been,
like Besame
and then a lot of people have
thing.
been like trying to convince me, and I'm like, no, it is such trash. It's birthday song when we get to the next album.
Oh! I think now I will say for Madonna's albums, there's never been a song that I just thought was complete trash till this one. Like this is the first in her whole entire discography from the first album to here. This is the first time where I'm like, holy shit.
No, because I Don't Know It is trash, regardless of who likes it in this panel.
Oh, I Know It? See, I'll take that over this.
Yeah, I would so too. And I hate I Know It for such a passion. But this was just, it was like, bleh.
You know what? I'm
like,
a shitty podcast.
Like, oh, she's being cute. It's like, no, girl, she's not being cute. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing right about that song.
And she did this on her Rebel Heart tour, and a couple people thought like, oh, that version's a little better, but it's like,
girl, I'm so happy she didn't do it on my show. I would have died if the special song was Spanish Lessons. I would have been like.
Now, something I forgot to mention, and I suck as a podcast host, is that between Confessions and Hard Candy, there was one track that came out that was the song that was the bridge to this thing, and it was no.
Let's keep going.
It was a song called "Hey You, Don't Be," and it was a very feel good. Yeah, okay, let's move. Let's just move on.
Nothing like it was the weirdest because it's nothing like Confessions and nothing like Hard Candy. Where did this song come from?
But I feel like "Hey You" is as bad as Spanish Lesson in its own way.
Hey You makes me cringe, but it is just like Spanish Lessons to me. It's Spanish Lessons, B-Day song. There are some trash songs that she has, but Spanish Lessons for me is the ultimate trash. It is. I hate 4 minutes, but I would never call it trash.
No, because 4 minutes is actually listenable.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
So,
but this song is just like
I don't even get, and let me tell you, the first time I heard it, I was like, what the fuck is this shit? And then the way I had to force myself to listen to it to do this podcast.
And then literally, with Pharrell,
I try, I've given it years. I'm literally like, oh, maybe it'll sound different when I'm like 40. No.
Then he's doing that squeaky thing at the end where he's like, and it's like it's just bad from beginning to the thing about
for me. It's just like the lyrics are so stupid, and nothing. You're not teaching anybody Spanish. Those are so wrong. And then it's just like, and then the thing is like this Spanish this record. That's a record that should have been released in like 88 or 87 because that's stupid bullshit that she did back then. This was just like trash. Completely.
I feel like "Hey You" at least was a standalone track, so we never really had to sit through it. But this was like on the album, so I listened to albums.
Bitch, I could not because all those fucking haters on Madonna were like, "Hey You," and it was just so annoying.
See, I avoided "Hey You," but to get from Dance Tonight to the next song, you had to sit through Spanish Lesson unless you want to get off your ass and skip the track.
I was listening in on my iPod, blip, and like, oh my god, my finger was very heavy in that back section, so I could have skipped 3 songs and would have been fine.
All right, so do we have any thoughts on Spanish Lesson?
We do not.
I would say on a scale of Madam X to 10, this is a 2.
It's a 1. It's a 0.
I give it a 0.
Like, we're not giving negative numbers because those don't exist.
In fact,
this
Sharon,
is a 0, a 1.
I'm going to redo the scale. Charity. I'm redoing the scale from Spanish Lesson to 10.
Spanish Lesson to 10.
Because Madam X is like a 2 on that scale.
That's a good point.
How dare you? Madam X is an 8. How dare you? Bitch, how dare you get it anywhere close to that trash?
It's a good point. We're going to redo the scale from here on out.
Yeah, Spanish Lesson to 10.
When we get to Madam X, we will decide.
That's true. All right, on a scale of Spanish Lesson to 10, This is the Spanish lesson.
The Spanish lessons. It's just like, but, like, you know what the thing is? Other people, like, I guess the younger generation think it's cute and funny. I just think it's just horrendous.
Dude,
And,
someone
like,
likes the song?
I know a lot of people who like this song. I'm just
No,
like, and
you're
they're
lying.
babies. I'm not lying. I wish I was, child. I really wish I was.
Oh, girl.
And they're baby Madonna fans. So I was like, why? It's fine, y'all. I'm not going to say anything, but you keep going.
Thank goodness YouTube took off the dislike button, so I can't see how many people thumbs it down because people are going to be mad that we didn't.
Because, you know, once again, the woke nation, leave those dislike buttons so that people can know.
Did you ever
Why
feel
do you
that
think everything is pretty?
Did you ever feel that picture's kind of weird? It looks like she has something coming out of her butt.
Yeah.
Oh, I see it now, but I would never, like, I thought it was just, you know, the stand of the leg of the table that she was sitting on.
Oh, M. Dalla. All right.
Yes, I love her.
We have 2 songs left. The next one was originally
Thank
written
God.
for a play she was working on. Was it written with Joe Henry? I'm too lazy to look, but I think it might have been.
I will look this up.
Okay.
While we discuss.
Let's see how Jeremy's memory is, because it could be good or bad. For the last 2 songs, Madonna's getting a little more dramatic and serious. And this song is called...
It was written with Joe Henry.
All right, see? I do have a little...
There you go. Yeah.
I got a little bit left in there. This is a dark song. It did have a little bit of Justin Crimea River vibes in the production, but what do you all think of this song?
I'd be happy to remove it because it's nothing like the album. Nothing like you. Spanish Lesson's a mess, but the beat on Spanish Lesson flows very well with the album. You know what I mean? And now the album is coming to a crashing halt for this song, which I'm like, it's okay, but I'm not a fan.
I liked it. I thought the lyrics were good. I thought her vocals sounded good on this one. I just wish the production was a little bit less Timberlake-ish. But I don't know.
It could be why I don't like it.
What did you think of this one, Sharon?
I agree that there's something about it that doesn't feel completely in place with the record, and I can't necessarily put my finger on it. It may be because it was not necessarily meant for a record initially. Right. I do like that it has a little bit more depth to it, which is like, I do think the maybe also in part why it doesn't feel totally, you know, in sync with the rest of the record. But I do think that the record kind of does benefit from having a couple of moments where there's just a little bit more going on, you know. Yeah. But ultimately, I do think it benefits from having kind of like, you know, those moments. But at the same time, I do think that the record, you know, it's a little bit inconsistent. And this is one of those moments where if you feel that little bit of inconsistency happening, like I just think it never really fully kind of came together.
It feels a little mixtapey, right?
Yeah, actually, yeah, that's a good way to describe it. So,
think the album could have ended with Spanish Lesson and it would have been okay instead of these last 2.
I don't know. I really don't know.
I don't. Maybe I'm gonna like ruin everyone's opinion of me by saying this. I don't mind it ending on Voices.
Yeah, I don't mind these last 2 songs. I like darker stuff and a little more. I feel like it kind of doesn't exactly fit the album, but by that time things were more on iPod shuffle and, you know,
a skip, a heavy finger on a skip.
So I remember when, do we have any other thoughts on Devil Wouldn't Recognize You? No. I remember someone saying that she was channeling a little bit of erotica, which I don't hear in it.
No, in what world?
Or voices. I meant voices.
I
said words, but I meant voices. I apologize.
You wish. They wish it was words.
Timberlake is back. This is a really weird song to end the album. Then it has the tolling bell at the end. It just seems things get really dark when it's such a frothy, like hard candy. It's like we went from hard candy fitness to the therapist office. Just for
This album doesn't end there for me though, because I bought the iTunes version.
Oh, what's on the iTunes version?
Oh,
Because the iTunes version has a bonus track called
Ring My Bell.
Ring My Bell.
And that's where my album and we'll get there. Let's continue with Voices.
Ring my bell. Ring my.
That song is "Don't You Dare."
I like Ring My Bell.
Cut you.
Okay, Voices. Who is the master and who is the slave?
Who is the slave? Ay, Dios, no puedo. It's good. It's good, but it's, you know what? I like it better than the prior song, and I'm fine with it ending. Like, you know how weird it is, because those songs are connected very well, but I hate one song and the other one in this one, Voices, is fine.
Are you
Voices
walking the
for me is
dog,
fine.
or is the dog is not
Walking.
me?
Right? I was fine with it. I really like. I skip 2 songs, but I won't skip Voices.
It's one of those songs that it's not my favorite and I don't hate it. It's just kind of,
And it's fine. That's exactly how that's exactly how I think most people find that song.
I put it like on Little Star level for me.
I know, but Little Star is about Lola. There's meaning behind Little Star. So, but what is the meaning over this one?
These last 2 songs, Devil Wouldn't Recognize You in Voices, it didn't feel like it was coming from her. It just felt like she's trying to write something that sounded dark or sounded cool rather than like writing from experience.
Or maybe that's where they were sending her to go.
Yeah. Like Miles Away felt like it came straight from the soul. But I don't know.
How about we get Miles Away with that tone and that production value that we got the last 2 songs? That could have been interesting right there.
Yeah.
Like, because Miles Away is a ballad, but it's not a ballad. You know what I mean? And that song deserved orchestra and deserved darkness and all that stuff, because it was such, like, I love how she sometimes will, she'll mix issues with a beat, but sometimes
so Death Do Us Part,
personal.
Yeah,
exactly. But it works and it's great. But sometimes I need In This Life type of songs when she's talking about herself in that way.
Now, you know what's interesting is I feel like In This Life sticks out on erotica just as much as these songs stick out on Hard Candy, but In This Life doesn't bother me on erotica.
And it shouldn't bother you, because it to me, when I think of erotica, I don't think of erotica as the production, the music, the journey. To me, it's the subjects, the topics. So In This Life works with the topics that we have at hand.
Yeah,
okay, I agree with that.
I see your point there.
So to me, it doesn't stick out because that's how I see erotica. Confessions, Confessions is all about the dance, the groove, the exploration of dance music and stuff like that. So that's how it works. But erotica is more than just, because she works with dance and she works with pop and she works with R&B and she's got hip hop tones in erotica. So it's like, you don't know where she's at.
I'll be honest. In This Life was never one of my, I think it's a great song and a great message, but as far as like how much I like it, I kind of put it on the same level as Voices and Devil Wouldn't Recognize You.
I would never, but but no, and I can see where that is, but like for me, it's like, you see In This Life performed on the girly show, and it's done for me. It's like, it's there. It might have started over here in the middle, but after seeing that performance, it's done. Like, I'm like, y'all don't get it. Ugh. If there's anything that my bitch knows how to do is emote. And she hasn't been emoting lately. And she's so good at it.
That's true.
Maybe if we can get her to emote more, then she might have better, stuff.
She has to get in touch with her own feelings first.
I guess, if she can go through that fake ass.
I feel like first she's got to get in touch with the ass.
Is that what she was looking for under that bed? Her feelings?
I feel like she's always in defense mode though, and she's always has her
thing is, she's like, look, she's always been attacked, but now we live in an area of social media and everything. So everywhere you turn, you're being attacked. So it's like, If she's in defense, you got to understand she's got to be in defense because it's like she gets it everywhere. It's like she can't even escape.
I just hope she's able to dig underneath that a little bit and
yes,
find something because there's
under the bed somewhere. I just know
under the fucking bed. All right, so you're on iTunes and you hear, "If you're gonna talk to me, talk to me." Isn't that how Ring My Bell starts?
Yes. If you want to talk to me, you need to talk to me.
I remember
it's so good. Like
I had a crush on this guy, Sean, who is still kind of like ignoring my messages. Like I'm still trying like 10 years later, unsuccessfully. So,
Sean from San Francisco? Same Sean?
No, different Sean.
Oh, good times.
Yeah, I like Ring My Bell. I think it should have ended the album proper.
It's such a bop. Whoa,
ring my bell. Definitely the voice, the hard candy voice is going on.
And it's fine by me because it's just so good. I don't know what it is about it, but I love it to death. Like I'm like, it's one of the best songs on the album. It's so good. And that's how I end my album. So I'm fine.
I consider it like the fighting spirit of Hard Candy, like that bonus track.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's also a Pharrell song, right?
Yep.
Of course it is.
So, holy shit, we made it through Hard Candy.
And nobody died.
Now we have MDNA, Rebel Heart, and Madam X.
We need to discuss the Sticky and Sweet tour, though.
Okay, the Sticky and Sweet tour was the highest grossing tour by a female artist ever, right?
And it still holds the record.
Look at that.
I saw it at Madison Square Garden in New York. And after the Confessions tour was such an artistic triumph, I did enjoy Sticky and Sweet, but just like the album, I felt like something had changed a little bit with Madonna. Not necessarily in a bad way, but the tour was an extension of the album that it was just kind of some frothy fun. Don't you feel? It was definitely a fun, pleasing show.
I feel like she knew that this was the last one for her. The last, like, she's gonna go all out, and she did. Like, she served superstar. This is like, she served U2, she served Michael Jackson, she served, like, she is the queen of pop, and she is the biggest female touring artist of all time. Mm-hmm. Like, that's what she served. Like, she gave us, bitch was jump roping and doing all these crazy things, like not normal choreography. She was really, like, I think she knew that this was her last hurrah, and she served it. Because she hasn't done anything like that. She continues to innovate when it comes to touring, because that's how that bitch is. But she really was like, I'm gonna give it all and die on this stage for y'all.
And she had a lot more dates on the Sticky and Sweet tour. Weren't there 2 legs as opposed to the later tours? There weren't as many dates. And of course, Madam X tour, half of it got canceled.
The poor knee.
Poor knee.
No, it was her hip too, right? Didn't she actually replace her full hip?
Yeah, I think so. That's what they're saying.
I think it could be. But yeah, no, this tour was amazing. It was just like, she really, like, yo, what was it? Oh my God, it was so much. The marching bands here and all that stuff. And it was like Into the Groove. Amazing.
Yeah, the Keith Haring.
Amazing.
I thought the ending was.
And then when she was on, oh my God, when she is in South America, she was touring that in South America or somewhere place where she was like, as she was warming up, she starts singing Physical Attraction. And I'm like, bitch, I cannot.
What? She sang Physical Attraction?
Yes, as she was warming up.
Wow.
To the crowd of those people who, they let in like maybe 20, 30 people in the stadium before when they're doing their little practice and shit. And I'm like, bitch, I cannot.
Wow.
People must have lost their minds on that.
Of course.
So this is the album, she did the tour. It was the last album with Warner's. And let's just quickly touch on, after this, she released a compilation, which really closed out her Warner's contract, called Celebration. There was a DVD of one disc version.
Oh my God, not another greatest hits album. I can't.
Because she had, GHV2 wasn't too long.
GHV2, but I was like, damn, another one already?
What did you all think of the song?
Definitive one, as it seems.
Did you like the song Celebration?
Celebration's good. It's good.
Celebration's a great song.
Yeah,
A Grammy-nominated song. Yes, it is.
But it's like we said earlier. It's like it's in that pantheon of kind of like those sort of light, bright,
But
poppy.
we have the remix by Benny Benezzi, which was on fire. The video that had her latest boy toy,
Jesus Luz.
yes, he was so
right.
beautiful. And a very young and cute Lola dressed up as Madonna from like a virgin with the wedding dress.
And we forgot to mention the live version of She's Not Me from Sticky and Sweet, where she has the like a virgin Madonna come up and she beats them all up. So that's kind of cute. I thought Madonna's wig in the Celebration video was not her best. But my friend Jocelyn, who was on this podcast I can't remember which episode, but her mantra is if it feels good, I say do it. I don't know what you're waiting for from Celebration. So that's her favorite Madonna quote to live by. And
you should.
And I think it's just probably better if we just don't talk about Revolver at all.
No, don't you dare do Revolver that way.
My love's a revolver.
Let me tell you, her and Lil Wayne are on point. And that remix won a Grammy for David Guetta. So
did it?
Yes, it did. So no. I love Revolver. I will not hear any horrible slander against it.
See, I did like Revolver.
Can say it, please.
I liked Revolver, but I felt like she was borrowing a little bit from Britney Blackout Circus era.
Could be, but
Womanizer.
But Madonna's dance.
Yeah.
You can't blame her for it. And it's like, but Revolver, club hit. Club.
I did not need the live version of Revolver in the MDNA tour, which was like auto-tune hell.
It was cute. It was cute, but I like Revolver. Revolver's a good song. I like it a lot.
Well, I feel like we had a nice, robust, I think we had a very fair discussion.
I think so too.
I apologize for calling it the grandma voice because the ageism wasn't quite as bad for Madonna back then. So I'm going to retool that as just call it the hard candy voice.
No, you will say the hard granny voice.
The hard granny
I have
fitness.
Friends who will call this record hard Grammy because they love it so much.
Okay, so we always end the podcast with a little rating. How would you all rank Madonna Hard Candy on a scale of 1 to 10?
Well, so on a scale of Spanish lesson to 10, Hard Candy, I'm going to give a 6. So, which I think is a fair number, right? It's definitely not one of her best. As I said, sort of taken in context, I think you have to be in the right mindset for it. It's a kind of like an unrepentant pop record. It's meant to be, superficial, sugary, glossy, slick, enjoyable. Don't think about it. Don't, it's not meant to be deep. You're supposed to enjoy it in the moment. And for that, I think it's a solidly a 6. It's got a lot of great moments on it. It's not the best thing she's ever done, but it's enjoyable in the right context.
All right, David.
I'm going to give it a 7.5. Obviously, there are some songs that I can't stand, but I love this album. It's my go-to album for exercise. I will now be playing this album for the next week and a half because I really do love it a lot. So, but generally speaking, it's a 10 in my heart, but it's a 7.5 in real life.
There she is.
Oh boy.
There's M. Dalla.
Yeah.
It's interesting. If anyone has a moment, there's an article that was released in Billboard in 2018 that said Hard Candy, Madonna's last great album. So it's an interesting article to read.
You know what? Hard Candy will go down like, Erotica, it took a good couple of decades for people to really understand and now give that album its flowers, deservingly so. American Life may never get there. But I think Hard Grammy, Hard Candy will stand the test of time.
See, I like American Life a lot better than Hard Candy, but I I will give Hard Candy a 7. I think.
Oh, there you go.
Yep, I think it's a fun pop album. I actually like the last 2 songs more than you, David. I think I like the little darker stuff. The only song I really, really don't like is Spanish Lesson. Everything else, I can put it on from beginning to end and just have a good time. Sing along with the Hard Candy voice when I'm in the car. That's always a good time. And at that time, there's a lot of good memories. I mean, I was still part of the club scene back then more. So Tuesday night at G Bar, they were playing the Give It To Me video. They're actually playing the Miles Away video. They're playing 4 minutes. So there's a lot of memories. And this is kind of the last time that you really had a Madonna album really out in public as much as this one was. So it definitely was the end of an era.
Very, very true about that.
True.
Well, friends, even though everyone else abandoned us, Love Don't Live Here anymore on our podcast. Let's try to get the troops back out for
They abandoned us.
next month. Let's get reductive and talk about MDNA.
Good times. Because the highest of highs and literally the lowest of lows up in that album.
Uh-oh. All right. Well, I will see you all in 2022. Thanks to everybody that supports this podcast. And most of all, thanks to my friends for just sitting here and fucking talking about Madonna. It's a good time.
We love being
right.
here. Don't
Yeah,
forget
me
to
too.
subscribe.
Yeah,
Like
subscribe.
and comment down below.
And Sharon, I feel like you've sat through so much of our gay shit that you need to pick an album that you love that we will do just to give a little love back to you, since you know you're sitting through these last Madonna albums with us, and I know it can be
It's hard work.
yeah, we owe you one.
Well, first of all, you owe me nothing, and second of all, I would love to do some Janet records. So
Okay,
I'm down. I'm so down to do it. If y'all do the whole thing with Janet, I'm down to do it.
I would love to do Janet's Control. I would love to do actually any number of Janet records, but
okay,
that'd be fun.
Well, that's a date then.
All right,
friends. Thank you so much, and remember, stay sticky and stay sweet, and get that booty right down till the lights go out.
all right, Granny.
Bye.